What's going on, folks? This is Mr. Colon Noir, and this is my Glock 26 Gen 4. Now, as long as Glock has been out, you've had the fanboys who absolutely love Glock, and you have people who absolutely hate Glock, and then you have some of those people who fall in the middle, where they can go either way. But one thing's for sure: as popular as the Glock is, and as many Glocks that are out there, there are just as many complaints and basically things that people wanted changed on the previous generation Glocks. And they've been voicing them pretty loudly, whether it be in forums, on YouTube, or simply reviews. And most commonly, there are a couple things that tend to pop up more often than not as far as complaints about the Glocks and things that they didn't like about them. And I have to say that, and speaking in terms of the Generation 4 Glocks, apparently Glock listened. On the Gen 4 Glocks, they now come with a more matte finish as opposed to the glossy finish that accompanied the Generation 3 Glocks. I don't really know how I feel about that. I was really a fan of the Glock finish, the Gen4 finish of the Generation 3 Glocks. And this finish almost seems to be less durable than the Generation 3 finish. I am noticing that scratches and just kind of keeping it clean overall isn't as easy as the Generation 3. With the Generation 3 finish, it was literally you grab a microfiber towel, maybe put a little oil on it, wipe it down, and you're good to go. But with the Gen 4, the finish seems to be a little finicky. Visually, the one thing that absolutely stands out when you first notice this gun is the grip texture and the stippling on the actual handle. What Glock has done now is they've taken their RTF grip that was originally on the Generation 3 and have now toned it down just a bit, and basically has made the grip texture on the Generation 4 Glocks a lot more aggressive than the prior generation. And what this allows is, now you don't have an issue with prolonged shooting where when your hands are sweating and you're moving around and you're doing lateral movements, or you're running this gun hard, you don't have the issue of feeling like the gun is going to slip out of your hand. This texture grips, but it doesn't grip so hard that it makes it uncomfortable. So personally, I really do like these new grips. Now there's a downside to this grip texture. If you are carrying concealed, especially if you're carrying in the waistband, it can get a little scratchy, especially if you don't have a barrier between you and the gun's handle. And usually most holsters do not cover the grip handle. So inevitably what that leaves you with is you have this texture kind of rubbing up against your skin a little bit. Now I've had some times, and I've been carrying this for a little bit, and yes, I've felt the grip rubbing up against my side, and it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's not a deal breaker. If there was ever a complaint made of Glocks for people who don't like them and people who love them, it was the grip. Constantly, you talk to anyone who wasn't too fond of a Glock, 80 to 90% of the time, the reason that they have a problem with the Glock is because of the grip and the grip angle. And most people complain about the fact that the grip is just too thick and that they can't get a good purchase on the gun because their hands are too small. There are those who love the original Glock grips, and usually those are people with bigger hands. Apparently Glock decided to listen to a large part of those people, and that they've reduced the grip size this direction and made it smaller than the Generation 3 grip. And so what they did on top of that was they provided 2 back straps. And so now the Glock is outfitted with, well, when you receive a Glock, you get 2 back straps that you can put on the back of the gun, and they come in a medium and a large. And as it is right now, this is the smallest size it is. So this standard is smaller than the Generation 3. But when you add a medium back strap, it brings the gun to the regular size of the Generation 3. And then when you add a larger back strap, of course, it makes it larger than the prior generation Glock. Personally, I absolutely love the new grip size of the Glocks. I have relatively small hands, and now with the reduced grip size, it allows me to get a better purchase on the gun, and I can get up under the bore much better than I could with the previous generation Glocks. Not only that, what they did is, and some people actually said that they feel like they've decreased the palm swell. I feel like they've increased it, and I think that's an improvement. Simply because what it does is it allows the gun to sit in my hand more naturally, and therefore it contours to the inside of my hand, and therefore I get a better purchase on the gun. And thus, what ends up happening is naturally my hand will sit right up under the tail end of the gun, causing me to get a better access on the bore, thus providing me, giving me the ability to better control recoil. So personally, I have to say that I really do like the new grip size for the Glocks. And honestly, I think it's the best of both worlds from the standpoint that now that we have the back straps, somebody who has larger hands can outfit the gun with a large back strap and be fine. Somebody with medium, the regular size hand, can outfit the gun with the medium back strap and be fine. So I have to really give it to Glock for that. And I think that's probably the best and the smartest improvement they've made on the Generation 4s. When you get your Gen 4 Glock, if you buy it new, the first thing you're going to notice is that it comes with 3 magazines instead of the typical 2. And I think that's really good, especially considering how nowadays a lot of gun manufacturers are getting real stingy with their magazines. Like I know, for instance, the last gun I reviewed, the 6 Hour P238, that only comes with 1 magazine. And I believe Cars is doing the same thing with their CM line. And it's good to see Glock not only not being stingy with their magazines, but giving you an extra magazine and still staying at the same price point. So I kind of got to really give it up to Glock for including 3 magazines instead of your typical 2, or as is common now, 1 magazine. One of the things they changed on the Gen 4 Glocks is the stamping that they have on the slides. Usually it's consistent with the Glock logo, the model number, Austria, and what round it's chambered in. But for the Gen 4s, what they decided to do was basically give you a billboard that tells you that this gun is a Gen 4 and put it right on the slide. So for all intents and purposes, let's see if we can get that. We got the Gen 4 designation right after the model number and all the rest of the stuff that usually accompanies the gun. I'm kind of indifferent as to whether or not I like that or not. Doesn't really make a big difference to me, but it is on there for designation purposes.